Oh, yeah. Come in. Come in my studio, my people. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are as we watch live the government being cleaned up before our very eyes. That's part of why the patriots are so happy. Okay, we're going to start here with, I got a bunch of clips. There's too much news to cover, guys. And but we're going to start right here on the Laura Ingraham show with that Eric Schmidt guy.
What legal recourse, if any, do these targets have? I mean, to have your phone records sought after by a federal official or federal agency without cause on this bogus rationale of it's only a preliminary analysis. That's a new one on me. I hadn't heard that one before.
Well, I think this is still unfolding. There's still more to know, but it's certainly a violation of their civil rights. But also, Laura, I think the time has come for criminal prosecutions. I think some of the statute of limitations has expired on some of these things, but not on a conspiracy. And the fact is, if you're...
That's the second time he said that. We're going to go after them for a conspiracy. And I also think personally for a breach of their civil rights, they should be able to sue the government.
Part of a conspiracy in mile marker 1, but you try to take an exit ramp at mile marker 5, you're still liable for the damage and the criminal activity at mile marker 10. We're at mile marker 10. And so whether it's Comey, Clapper, Brennan, whoever else we know or don't know right now is a part of this, I think indictments should be coming here. We can't tolerate this. And the Democrats try to act like President Trump's weaponizing. It is not what's happening.
This is about accountability.
It is. And I would say this.
Someone has to be accountable 100%. For this.
And also we need to be clear of the distinction. They weaponized it. The fact that we would go after people who weaponized it is not the same thing. Because if we don't do that, it's going to happen again.
It's going to happen again. Comer, Clapper, and Brennan were three names he named, and anyone involved. I'm for this. But this is a call for arrest. This is a call for grand juries to take a look at it and say, is there evidence here? So this is going to have a long tail, ongoing. Statute of limitations do not cover it. They'll be brought in and frog marched, I think. Well, Comey's already today, his arraignment today in Virginia. Now, here's a Democrat, Senator Coons. This is the first Democrat I've heard that was troubled with the 8 Republicans that were spied on. Watch this. This is a Democrat's 11-second clip.
Just on the surface of it would strike me as a significant invasion of the right of senators to conduct their jobs. So this is something I think needs urgent follow-up.
This is something that needs urgent. We're going to take if Democrats can continue down this line, if we can peel off a few Democrats that agree, I think it'll be better for the whole government to make it look more nonpartisan, but an absolute breach. Here's Josh Hawley.
So what did they get from your phone? What were they able to get?
They were able to get the list of incoming calls, outgoing calls, my location, when the calls were received, the duration of the calls, as well as metadata associated with the phone. And Jesse, that's just what we know about for sure. The truth is, we don't know the extent of their information gathering. We don't know what they did with it. We really don't know why they wanted it, other than, as you said, it was a dragnet. They were trying to destroy the entire Republican Party, beginning, of course, with Donald Trump, who was their number one target, and sweeping up anybody associated with them and anybody who was standing up against Joe Biden. Because remember, Jesse, this didn't happen until 2023. That's when Jack Smith and his goons went on this witch hunt. 2023. This was all about politics.
Yeah.
So when they say that this is about, they were trying to get to the bottom of January 6th. January 6th was 2021. This was phone tapping late in 2023. I mean, far enough into 2023, 2 years later, that this is obvious politics. So we're going to get to Kash Patel on how they found all of this hidden goon material. It was buried so deep in the government, obviously a cover-up. Here's Kash Patel.
On elected United States senators and representatives. And they knew who they were calling, where they were calling from, where the person was receiving the call, who was receiving the call. You have fired the agents that were involved in that operation. What can you tell us about it?
Sean, I want to peel this onion carefully. Look, they put this information, those that weaponized the FBI and prior leadership at DOJ and FBI, they took this information where they subpoenaed 8 sitting United States senators, put it in a lockbox, put that lockbox in a vault, and then put that vault in a cyber place where no one can see or search these files. They're called restricted access and prohibited access. Restricted access means some people get to see it. Prohibited access, you put it in there when you want to hide it from the world, and that takes the authorization of the Attorney General and the Director of the FBI.
The only people that could unlock it were Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, two great Americans. And I just got to say, fashionably, look at Kash Patel's coat. Purple plaid, that's a man of authority. That's a risk-taking, good, strong man. Purple plaid. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more news and fashion comments by me.
So not only did they weaponize this law enforcement, but when we got in there, and when I got in as the FBI director, from my experience as Russiagate, I knew where to look and what rooms to open and what doors to kick down. And that's what we did. We found this information to expose the politicization by Jack Smith and the prior Department of Justice. I mean, just think about it. 8 sitting United States senators. Phone records were gathered and subpoenaed through the grand jury process, and it was buried and wormholed with the hope that no one would find it. So we're just scratching the surface here, but accountability is coming.
We're only just starting because you're only just now getting the information. People keep going, there's no arrest, no arrest. Well, can't be arrest if you don't know about it. This is the first time they actually exposed specific evidence that we now have. Now we're going to go to Blanche about the ICE officers in Chicago. This loosely relates to Portland also, but Todd Blanche on ICE officers are going to get hurt.
When the director and I saw that and the attorney general saw that report, that's when we booked a flight to Chicago. And so, of course, we have to look into that. And it is so disturbing. And Sean, this is not an indictment of the local cops. To a man and woman, they want to help us. They want to be there protecting their citizens. This is an indictment of the leadership, of the mayor, of the governor. And they are stopping law enforcement doing their jobs. And imagine being a law enforcement officer who's not getting paid because the Democrats will not open this government, being boxed in by multiple cars, and learning later that leadership told the law enforcement to back off and not respond.
That's going to open up an investigation on all the leadership, not only in Chicago, but also coming soon to Portland on who ordered the stand down. The cops are just doing their jobs. They're not allowed to defy their orders. They're told to stand down as ICE officers are having their cars boxed in and surrounded. That is putting them in danger. How are we going to find out? Here's Nick Sorter. This is that journalist who pushed back against ICE, and Portland police were ordered to arrest him. But who made the order? He's going to find out. How? Through a lawsuit. Here's Nick Sorter breaking. My legal team has come out swinging against the state of Oregon and Portland Police Bureau, demanding all records. This is where you find the stand down order. All records relating to selective enforcement and coordination with Antifa. Portland police decided they wanted a war. Now they've got a war. All will be exposed. And this is the Angus Lee law firm, and Andy No, who was first to get a brick thrown at his head by Antifa back in, I think, 2018. He's the whistleblower. Here's Multnomah County Circuit Court in and for the state of Oregon. State of Oregon versus Nicholas Sorter. Comes now the defendant, Nicholas Sorter, by and through the Angus Lee law firm, and hereby demands full discovery pursuant to, and then here's all the legal precedent. This demand includes, but is not limited to, the following materials, information, evidence, and the possession, custody, or control of the state of Oregon, the Portland Police Bureau, and the related agencies acting on behalf. We, in light of selective law enforcement and selective arrest, because they arrested Sorter and not Antifa, specifically the arrest of defendant, while the individual who assaulted him on camera was not apprehended. Defendant further demands production of the following materials: flight and drone surveillance video, as is commonly asked for, instant messages, mobile data, and any digital communications among officers or command staff referencing the incident, video recordings and communications from control officers, all messages. This is how you flush out all the rats that gave the order. This is going to do every form of surveillance in the area. All audio, all video of police are now being called out as discovery in a lawsuit. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to find out who called the order in Chicago, who told a local police to back down when ICE was being attacked, and we're going to get it in Portland. So these are all different prongs of the good guys getting them. But wait, there's so much more. We have Mike Davis, whom we love. By the way, if you guys have not checked it out yet, you can, right next to the subscription button is a join button. Join us in Exile. Become a quad head. Quad heads are people that pay, I think it's $6.99 a month. You get exclusive streaming content. I was streaming last night. I interviewed my son, who's a Marine poolie, in the kitchen while I was making dinner. And then some guy sent me a $200 super chat to buy the beloved Miss Tenaple and I dinner. It's a lot more intimate, behind the scenes, unedited, live, just me. Sometimes I'm in bed or whatever, but I talk more about the prep on how I put the show together. Here's Mike Davis. Over the last 8 years, Democrats illegally spied on presidential candidate and even President Trump, weaponized intel agencies and law enforcements to hobble his presidency, impeached him twice for nothing, tried to bankrupt him for non-fraud, that was Letitia James, attempted to imprison him 4 times for non-crimes, threw his top aides and supporters in prison, threw him off the ballot in several states, including Maryland and Colorado, nearly assassinated him twice, now have, and by the way, it could have been 3 times also. That was, so one of them was that guy in the bushes at the golf course, and the other one was Butler, Pennsylvania. Now have activist judges sabotaging his second presidency. These are lower courts trying to do orders against his presidential orders. Most Senate Republicans are finally angry after they learned the FBI spied on 8 of them. So now the Republican rhinos, the do-nothing country club Republicans in Washington, saw 8 of their own get spied. And the first thing you think is, well, gee, if they spied on Lindsey Graham, the squishiest kiss-up Republican there is, they could come after me. I'm not safe. No, you're not safe from a Democrat FBI. No one is. Catholics aren't. Pro-lifers aren't. Christians aren't. Conservative parents that go and protest at the PTA that are dangerous white insurrectionists. No one is safe under Democrats. Never put an X next to a Democrat. Welcome to the fight, Senate Republicans. Some of you have been in this fight all along. Most of you have not. Better late than never, I guess. And then here's the usual, no one gets arrests, angry, outrage. I wake up, no one's arrested, bunch of crybabies. Sorry, guys, it takes a while. The facts are only just now coming out. Here's Eric Trump on the raiding of Mar-a-Lago of his father. Obviously, I like the way he puts this. This is the National Archives, basically a library, broke into Mar-a-Lago. He's going, they did not call that hit. I'm guessing it's Merrick Garland.
Do you remember when they raided Mar-a-Lago? I said, why are they here? And they told me it was because of NARA, right? National record, right? Obviously, you know, like, does anybody think that a public library, a glorified public library was making the calls to invade Mar-a-Lago, a former president's home?
The National Archives holds all of those classified documents. So that's why they pretended to go through them to go into Mar-a-Lago and oppress Trump.
It was all nonsense, but they wanted to put our family under siege. They wanted to destroy my father. They wanted to destroy us. They wanted to bankrupt us. So this doesn't surprise me that Jack Smith is tracking the communication of senators. It's actually the least surprising thing I've heard all day, because they're criminals, and honestly, so many of them should be in jail for exactly what they did.
And Jack Smith constructed evidence, taking all those files, putting the cover sheet of classified documents on it for a photo op. All of it made up. And Merrick Garland got his Melania. They went through Melania's underwear drawer. They went into Barron Trump's bedroom in case there were more documents being kept in Barron Trump's bedroom in Mar-a-Lago. Went into a kid's bedroom, went into Melania Trump's underwear drawer. And you can see, Merrick Garland, he's a total underwear sniffer. He said, get me Melania's undies. He's like, oh, like a gas mask, like in Blue Velvet. Just a total psycho, dark, corrupt Anti-family evil at the highest level of government has to be flushed out, has to be, but wait, this is expanding even more. John Solomon, new news, new stuff.
It's a major development. You're taking a look at a letter right there that was just sent to the FBI Director Kash Patel and the Attorney General Pam Bondi. What does it say? It says that Congress has obtained evidence that shows that the Biden White House was directly involved in trying to help start Jack Smith's investigation on the
Congress got Biden tied to pointing and directing Jack Smith to go after an opponent, a political opponent, Trump. This is the biggest form of weaponizing government we've had in our history. This is a corruption. FBI should not be doing this. In fact, the FBI should be disbanded if this is what they're going to do. They've lost their charter. There's no oversight. They're a secret, spooky place made to spy on American citizens. It's the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Federal.
January 6th probe against President Trump. Specifically, that the White House counsel's office secretly obtained President Trump's and Vice President Mike Pence's former phones and giving them to the prosecutors, basically sicking the Justice Department on his future competitor, his future rival in the 2024 election, so that they could look for dirt for possible crimes. There's a lot more coming.
I wonder what they found on Mike Pence's phone. What did they find? You can tell me in the chat below. Pictures of houseflies? I don't know. So this was presented to Kash Patel, specifically to Pam Bondi. They're cueing them to say, time for a new investigation. We have a new tie from Congress, newly exposed documents.
And there's a lot of other evidence as well of the White House involvement. Remember, 2 years ago, we were the first news agency, right here, Real America's Voice, Just the News, to report that a White House counsel was directly involved with this investigation. Now, more details, including imagine this, you're the Democrat president and you go get the old Republican's phone for your prior president and send it to the Justice Department. That's what Senators Johnson and Grassley were able to confirm.
Just imagine that. If J.D. Vance calls Trump and says, hey, throw me a bro in 2028. Get my opponent's phone and the vice president, the candidate's phone. Get them to us, and you, the FBI, Kash Patel, go through all the messages with all your genius Elon Musk programmers. Get big balls on it. To go through all their texts, messages, everyone who they have talked to, and you'd get all of their plans for the next campaign. Just that alone is disgusting. Oh, and while you're at it, Pam Bondi, work with states, conservative states, to get the opponent, which would be, say, Gavin Newsom and AOC running for president. Get Gavin Newsom off the ballot in Alabama. Get Gavin Newsom off the ballot in Alabama. Get some Republican psychos in there to take his name off the ballot. That's what happened to Trump. Psycho. Wait, there's more. Here's James Comey. James Comey will be arraigned tomorrow. This was yesterday, so that's today, his arraignment. Must be nice to stroll into the courthouse rather than having your door banged on and kicked in at 6 a.m. by armed agents like they did to Roger Stone. Walked him out in a T-shirt and his jammies. That's what they do to Steve Bannon. That's what they do to Navarro. So here he is, United States of America versus James Comey. This happened today. We'll get to his specific 2 charges that they're after him on in a minute. This matter comes before the court on its own initiative. The defendant, James Comey, is currently scheduled to occur on Thursday, October 9th. That will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. is when his court case happens. Here's James Comey.
This is where I probably disagree with you, Jake. I've seen enough on Comey that I think that he deserves a day in court. I believe that there's been sufficient evidence that has emerged that would show potential wrongdoing. Obviously, Comey deserves due process, as does anyone else. But
no, he doesn't. But here's the pushback on Jake Tapper, who says, how is this not just a weaponization and a politicization of government? And Comey, Comer, is saying, no, we got enough dirt on Comey. This is pretty solid. We'll get to the specific 2 charges in the next clip.
As far as political retribution, I don't view it as retribution. I view it as accountability. And I think that Comey has been a part of a team of bureaucrats in Washington that have weaponized the judicial system, that have weaponized the intelligence agency. So I think that this should be prosecuted, and obviously he deserves his day in court and he deserves due process, but I certainly think there's enough evidence to move forward.
Republican Congressman James Comer, Chairman.
Okay, I just wanted to give that because if you heard that quote, that this is not retribution. Justice is not retribution. You heard similar things to Eric Schmidt at the beginning of this show. This is a new Republican narrative that they have to keep underlining because they're trying to undermine the Democrats, saying this is the weaponization of government. And they're going, it is not the weaponization of government to go back and flush out and prosecute the weaponization of government. Do you see what that is? We're going back and we're ending Biden's weaponization of government. That's not necessarily political. I hope it is. I don't care if it's political because that's what the Democrats did. But we're trying to take the high road in this. Here's the two actual charges against Comey.
Former FBI Director James Comey is set to be arraigned this morning after a federal judge moved up his court date over security concerns at the Virginia courthouse. Lucas Tomlinson is live in Washington with the latest. Hey, Lucas.
Good morning, Ainsley. That's right. Former FBI Director James Comey set to be arraigned this morning, one day early, in a federal courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia, just out.
So the actual legal document I showed you said the 9th, but they moved it up to the 8th because of all the Democrat violent protesters that are showing up
Outside the nation's capital. The judge says, quote, because there are multiple previously scheduled matters that are expected to draw large numbers of people to the courthouse at the same time as the arraignment, and because it is necessary to ensure the security of the court, the parties, and the public, it is hereby ordered that defendant is summoned to appear for arraignment before this court on Wednesday, today at 10 a.m.
So they had to do this today because Democrats are so violent that it demands a reschedule. The Democrat, these are all leftist protesters. These aren't MAGA. These aren't MAGA going out and shooting fireworks and spitting on agents with their trans flags and their threats of violence. These are all the normal Democrats now are so violent that we moved a court date.
Comey faces 2 charges: false statement within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the U.S. government and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. Now, that largely stems from an exchange Comey had with Senator Ted Cruz at a hearing in 2020, when Cruz asked Comey if he had authorized someone at the FBI to be an anonymous source to leak information to the media. Comey denied the accusation at the time. The current FBI director, Kash Patel.
And that one's going to be really hard to get him on, that first count, because it's very hard. He can just lie about it. And it's he said, she said. Did you call a journalist, a preferred journalist, to leak? And Comey denies it.
Spoke about the indictment in Chicago yesterday.
The mainstream media wants to take the eye off the ball and create theater. We're not about theater. We're about producing our results in court. And that's what you're going to see tomorrow start. The revelation of details, and it will be forthcoming in the judicial process, as everyone in America is entitled to, including Mr. Comey. And we want him to have his day in court.
They want to have a revelation of details, give him his day in court, let the facts come out, and then so be it with the judgment.
And Patel says there will be no perp walk for Jim Comey today, and he will appear in court at 10 a.m.
No perp walk because we're not Democrats throwing people out on their lawn in their underwear under gunpoint, which is what they do. Here's more. This is Senator Ron Johnson on that original Laura Ingraham show about his own personal persecution.
What do you think they were after?
One word answer: power. Democrats will do anything to acquire and maintain power. That's what this is all about. Yes, it's a fishing expedition. And Eric's the expert in terms of what crimes might be prosecuted. The damage that people like Comey, Brennan, Clapper, McCabe, Strzok, Page, Thibault, the damage they have done to our democracy, starting with the exoneration memo of Hillary Clinton through Crossfire Hurricane, the Russian hoax, up to this moment. Russia and China, they could only dream of interfering in our elections to that standpoint.
The Democrat Party has interfered with our elections more than Russia and China could ever dream of. Russia and China can just leave us alone. So long as there's a Democrat Party operating in America, they'll get their will done. Here's from the Oversight Committee, Twitter. Many federal entities are aware of what the Bidens were doing. The Department of Justice, the FBI, the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, the IRS, Treasury, and now the CIA had evidence the Bidens were selling influence to enrich the family, and Joe tried to cover it up. They did nothing. All of these federal agencies, because they were run by Democrats, they knew this is a two-tiered system of justice. Biden gets away with it. Go raid Melania Trump's underwear drawer. They did nothing. Americans deserve better. Transparency is back. Here's the redacted files that are being released by Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, who are doing incredible work. But don't fear, guys. I'm going to end on a little piece of hope right here. While this is all about the weaponization of government, and we're going to clear it all out, the American patriot, we live our lives, and we've got this country. It is secured. There's a revival still going on. Here's the Charlie Kirk TPUSA from last night. 4,000 people at TPUSA's campus tour at Montana State. Let this sink in. These are all the youth. Look at the kid. This is the future of America. It's in good hands, guys. That's why I like leaving you on good news, not doom and gloom. We're doing a little police work with Trump to pull the rot, that rotting cancer out of America sitting on her deathbed. We're going to pull the rot. We're chemotherapy pulling that rot out of the body, and then the youth will come back and replenish and become a new body of American patriots to secure the republic for another generation. It's in good hands. That's my positive note. If you like this kind of material, subscribe. Check out the membership below. I'm Doug in Exile.